Hello again, everyone. I have another update for you. I did get my new molds, so I'm going to show them to you. These are the new ones. It's one of the new ones. The other two are right here. And you can probably compare. This is one of the older ones I had, so you can see there is definitely a size difference. And this is primarily just to give you some tips. And I'm not going to say, oh, these came out of my first try using the new molds. They did not come out of the first try. I had to try for hours to get this right, or even semi-right. This one is beautiful. I discovered with the new molds, the air dry clay that I've been using for the old molds did not work. And that blue clay I showed you did not work for the new mold. So, but that work, knowing that, okay, it has to be, the clay has to be a consistency somewhere between the white air dry clay and the blue one, helped me to understand exactly how the texture should be. And one of the things I've realized is that sometimes working with clay that is brand new doesn't always work so good. Sometimes it's better for the clay to be a little bit older. And in this case, I decided to create my own clay. And I've created this clay every year for multiple years. I usually make ornaments with it. I'm going to show you some of it. I made a small batch. I made half of what I normally would, because I think that's just a general good idea. If you are making your own, start with a half, because if you don't know if it's going to work, you could waste ingredients. So you can see this clay that I made right here. And I know you may ask for the recipe. I could give you a general idea because I made the basic recipe and then I realized it still was not the right consistency, so I randomly added a few things and I did not measure. You see how that's kind of crumbling right there? But using this has saved a lot of time and effort, because the process pretty much involved just taking the dough. I used this plate. Thank you for the person who gave the tip of using a tile. We've had a lot of rain here, so I did not have a chance to get outside and get a tile. So this was as simple as shaping this and taking one in the mold and pressing it down really hard. Not hard enough to break the plate. It doesn't need, this is very soft dough. You can see it's very soft. That's not going to probably work because there was other things I did too that I'm not going to go into detail about right now. But it's very soft dough, so it did not take any hammering. It did not take any pre-filling. Did not take any pressing some of the clay in the mold and then making a bigger lump and pressing it down. Did not require any of that. The only one I had to oil is this one. I did not even have to oil the other ones. And I'm going to make a suggestion. If you buy these newer molds, do not use a hammer on them, because I noticed the first time I tried with the air dry clay and that blue clay and I was using a hammer, the top was becoming discolored, and I really don't know what kind of metal these are made of. So do not use a hammer. If you can't get a clay where you can just do this simple, like I said, make a ball, press it down, and end up getting a result, then use well, see, look at that. Can you see that? That's with hardly even trying to show you that. That's hardly with any effort at all. And it's really pretty good, actually. Let me try that again. If you have to use a hammer or something to bang down with it on the top of these, oh darn it, that one just chipped. Use a wooden rolling pin. So let's see, let's try that again. When did I try that again? I had no idea. And see, this is what I mean by about working with older clay, or clay that's had time to, and there we go again. That's beautiful. Let's see if it works with the other ones. This is going to be longer than I intended it to be, but this brings me to the other point. You want your hands to be clean. You want your surface to be clean. If you get a buildup of dry clay on there, it's not going to do any good. You're going to not get a good impression. So I'm switching hands here. Let's see. Wow. The details could be a little better, but not bad at all when you consider how simple this is. And now I'm going to try it, and it works. This recipe works with the old molds too. But like I said, this took hours of me trying to figure this out. See, this is slightly dry. Let's see. That one doesn't want to lift up. See that? And if you make a mistake like that, and you just have to pull all of it out and start again. That's how it kind of goes with these things. So that one probably could have had a little oil in it to make it work like the others. But anyhow, surface clean. And one tip to know if you're working with a good clay is, you see there's some specks of clay on the plate. If it picks up the remaining clay, then that's a good clay. Let's go on the paper here and see if it does the same thing. Yep, got that, got that, got that. These are still drying, so the only thing I'm not really sure about is how they will dry. I did not try this dough in the past, this clay, because it has a tendency to crack. You can put this in the oven or you can let it air dry, but this is so soft. And I'm really looking forward to actually painting them or doing gold leaf. I used to do gold leaf all the time. And part of this is you have to not only know your clay, make friends with it, you have to know your surface. You have to, like I said, if this gets full of dry clay, they're not going to come out. That's probably why that third one did not come out. That's because this is too dry right here. And experiment with all kinds of things, which is what I've done. For mold releasing, I've used regular cooking oil. Sometimes water actually works good. Like on a surface, if you would make this damp, it may or may not work. I tried it with a little bit of water on this, and I had times where it came out and times where it did not come out. So know your clay, know your molds, keep your hands clean, keep your surface clean. Know when to use a hammer and not use a hammer. I don't even think actually with this clay I have to use a hammer anymore for these. I could try one right here right now, but I don't think I want to do that. Anyhow, I think this one is beautiful. That is my favorite out of all three. And we have, let's see, I have to get a little closer. This is Green Tara. This is Sitatapatra, and this is Vijaya. They're all beautiful, and I do know even with this clay, it's starting to get dry. It's not going to work when it's dry, so all I have to do is go dampen my hands, and then it's going to be too wet to start. So I have to keep working it until all the water is worked in. And I'm really looking forward to making more of this. and using it as my primary clay source. It's perfect. The other one, the air dry clay I've been using, was too dry. The blue one was way too sticky. I'm going to try to pick these up so I can show you, but like I said, this clay in the past has had a tendency to crack. It already cracked at the top a little bit, or I broke it out by accident. And you can't see the details on this camera very well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they dry, and then when they're dry, how they take paint or gold leaf. The wonderful thing about this is you can also color it before you make your shapes. And they're actually drying already. So I expect that these are only going to get better as time goes on. Oops. And I will be making a much bigger batch of this. I just hope I can get it to come out as successful as I did with this one, because like I said, I made my typical recipe. I could tell it wasn't going to work in the molds. I tried it, so I thought I need to add this, okay, and I added that, and I didn't measure, and then I thought, okay, it needs to have this. I need to add this stuff I already have here at the house, very common stuff. And once I added that and started working it, I could tell this is going to work out, this is going to be right. And you could see it is very drying on the hands. So anyhow, let me know what you think. Bye bye.